You're going to constitute a quorum this afternoon? Mr. Secretary, majority floor. Okay. May hapon sa tanan, the 99th regular session sa ngunit paglusod Dakbayan sa Cagayan is now called on to order. Please do stand. An invocation by Councilor Sedo Cabanlas. Ayong hapon kanimo. Thank you very much. Honorable Presiding Officer. In the name of the Father, the Holy Spirit. Our Father in heaven, look down upon us, your people of the city, with compassion. As we wiggle through this adversity that we are facing, this seemingly unending suffering, that some are starting to lose their taste to live. Many are now getting confused, which could lead us all to not understanding each other. We are losing friends, relatives, neighbors faster than we thought. Cries of grieving families are becoming unbearable. We are tired. Everybody is tired. We beg for compassion and mercy. Give us a respite from this madness. Guide us to the path where there is light and abundant hope. Unite us, your people, our government, as one effective force against this tragedy of disease and pain. Favor us with a solution. Amen. In the name of the Father and of the Son.
Thank you, Councilor Edgar Cabandas.
Thank you, Councilor
Of our national for the Cagayan de Oro March.
Hallelujah.
hapon sa tanan. And to all who are present this afternoon session, regular session,
Regular session.
their different abode and social media. Ngayong hapon kanin. And so as to all, kayanon suwa, following our session or Ayan, Diogo, maayong hapon. So, at this moment, but before we proceed, Mr. Secretary, I would like to greet happy birthday despite the pandemic to our majority floor leader, Ayan Mark Takaya. Happy birthday kanimo, majority floor. Thank you. Councilor Buboy Daba.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. How old
19.
are you?
Luto na. The 19th City Council. Happy birthday, majority. Ayan Mark Kiblat. How young are you? Still young. Alive and
Yeah, hey. Yeah, hey.
always kicking. Kung sa Tagalog pa tumatanda ng paoro.
Muna ako natunan sa imo.
Dili po taas ang edad nagkabadlong dili nakabutan.
Awato na to si Councilor. I do not know if the camera can redirect
Okay.
its shoes. And, say that age does not matter. You can still kick and you can still
With a vibrant color. That represents the age or the rainbow colors representing about that. Councilor Edgar Corres. Anyway, happy birthday, Leader Ayan Mark Kiblat. So, at this moment, our regular session, regular session, the City Council. So, Mr. Secretary, roll call and determine if we do have a quorum.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, and the Honorable Member. Honorable Renier Joaquin P.O., City Vice Mayor and Presiding Officer for the First District Council, Honorable Edna M. Danilo, Honorable J.R. Pascual, Honorable Roger G. Abaday, Honorable Saldi O. Ocon, Honorable George E. Joking, Honorable Ruben R. Daba,
Present.
Honorable Lodan Giswan, Honorable Romeo V. Calizo. For the Second District Councilors, Honorable Joylen Mercedes El Malaba, Honorable Maria Lourdes Iscaani, Honorable Ayan Mark Benagaya, Honorable Josette G. Magtahas Daba, Honorable Chodolfo E. Lau Jr., Honorable Enrico D. Salcedo, Honorable Jocelyn B. Rodriguez, Honorable Edgar S. Cabanlas. For the ex-officio members, Honorable Yan Lam Islim, Liga ng mga Barangay President, and Honorable John Michael Esteno, City SK Federation President. There is quorum, Mr. Presiding.
Secretary Arturo de San Miguel, mayong hapon kanimo. Salamat kayo. So we now proceed. Leader Ayan Mark Takaya. Our birthday celebrant. You have the floor. Majority floor.
Mr. Chairman, Joaquin Velez Kikang Uy, mayong hapon. I move, Mr. Chairman, to dispense with the reading of the minutes of meeting on July 26, 2021, and to consider the furnishing of its copy to every member as the reading itself.
Appeal mo by the majority floor.
Second.
Any correction? Seconded correction? Is there any? Is there any? There is none. Hearing none. It is hereby approved. It is hereby approved.
I likewise move for the approval of the said minutes of meeting.
Second.
Second.
Seconded.
We have on special report, Mr. Chairman, two members actually, and Councilor Edgar Cabanlas would like to render a report on his it's the actual figures that's already out and in public, Mr. Chairman, the increasing number of infected victims of COVID-19. And Councilor Swan would like to defer first his intention to render a special report, and it will be substituted with Councilor Roger Abaday as regards his opinion on the ECQ and suggestions, Mr. Chairman. So
Okay,
Councilors Cabanlas and Abaday.
Okay, our first reporter this afternoon. Councilor Edgar Cabanlas, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Majority Floor, and our presiding officer, Vice Mayor Kikang. Members of the City Council, our guests who are present, members of the media who are also present. Mr. Chairman, I am supposed to render a special report on my actual experience with the implementation team of the city government in the implementation of our minimum health standards in the city, looking for violators, specifically in the area of Cogon Market. But I was, it is overtaken by events because Colonel Gunda made a special report also about our can be gleaned from what he said, can be, and it can be generalized that as if the city government, including us, members of the city council, we're not doing anything to combat the epidemic or pandemic.
So the whole government unit.
The whole government. I do not know if that was a report based on personal opinion or the official report of the PNP Cagayan de Oro station. Being a member of the police office, he is the deputy chief of police, and with the rank of a colonel, lieutenant colonel, and that's a high ranking position in our police office, because in the city police office, usually the head of the city police office is a colonel, and the number two is light colonel or LTCOL. If it is a personal opinion coming from Colonel Gunda, I will not disturb him with that. In fact, I will clap my hands with that opinion, because an ordinary citizen is entitled to his own opinion. But as a police officer, a member of a very important and vital institution in the governance of the city, Colonel Gunda should know better. I do not know if he has taken this basic rule in the police of what we call the chain of command. That before a subordinate officer can speak about an order, whether it is negative or positive, he should not just say it to everybody else's, but he should deliver his comment or opinion through a chain of command. Diba? Kumananta. And in fact, he should know better that what he said is not the official statement of the entire institution of the city police office. So, ako lugar, whether it is true or not. Ako lugar makaingon kaniya nga delikado kung mao ka ng batasan sa mga pulis. Nga ignon nimo ang mayor nga the mayor is uncooperative. Instead of the mayor saying to the police, you are uncooperative. Yan naman yung gibali. Yan naman yung gibali. The mayor is the mayor. The city council is the city council. We pass ordinances which become policies of the city government. And if you think that it's not good, you can question that. But as a government agency, supposed to cooperate with us, supposed to help us implement the laws, siya naman yung nakita nun nag-cooperate. Sugot mo ko, Mr. Chairman, ako nalang Kernel, siya na lang ang member sa City Council. Now, di man sa tingali pwede nga ito lang pasagdan kay the mayor is entitled to answer him or not. But our name, kita kay mga membro man ta, we were dragged to this confusion of what Gunda said. That's why, mingon kong tubago na to, gamay lang. Mingon siya nga wala kuno kita magpalo sa ilang suggestion nga mag-granular lockdown. Kaya ang gusto ni Mayor is isolation. So it is a battle between one policy and another policy. And who would choose which policy to follow? Is it Colonel Gunda or the Mayor? Simple lang kayo. It is an issue of which better policy. Katubang granular lockdown o kaning isolation. Nagingon man ang mayor nga isolation. Na mingon hinon siya karon nga si mayor wala mag-cooperate kaya matuman nilang gusto. Is that the way police officers in the city act? Mingon siya nga kanang kuno atong isikyo binuang no. Kanang kuno atong kanang dami nga papel nga kanang QR code binuang. Hoy pulos. Si way pulos. Na ba iya? Kasi wa siya isikyo. Kanang wa siya QR code. It is not only the city that requires, it is the entire nation that requires kining QR code. Gani ang DILG doon na ilang QR code tibok Pilipinas niya. Ningon silang binuang. And he is selective. Kay ang city of Cagayan de Oro nga QR code ang QR code mga iyang gingon nga way pulos. Ikatulo, di na ko may memorize to kay buting daghan na to para mag-dusi ka mo. No. Uncooperative. Kani usa kani joker ni usa Mr. Presiding Officer. Nagdaghan ako ng kawatan. Nga panakas balay. Mga index crime, kanang mga crime against property. Nagdaghan ko no. Tungkol ko no. Kisala kita niya. Kita mga konsyara sa mayor. Kaya nagdaghan ko no. Kawatan kay wala ko no kita'y gihatag nga. Ayuda. Dili, ato sa tanaw ng kawatan. Ato sa klaruhon. Iyalaw na ba din na ito ang kawat? Sila sa ilang gibuhat. Isi police. Di ba ilang problema pagdakop? Colonel Mandia was here 2 weeks ago. We asked him what's the problem if may problema sa syudad. Yang superior officer was here. Nagamit pa sa PowerPoint. Wala man siya mag-ingon nga, gibasol din niya nga, na yung mga kawatan nagdagan. Wala man siya mag-ingon nga, dautan ang aton mga palisiya. Wala man siya girekomendar nga unting nga palisiya nga mayo. And yan din di sa sovereignty of Colonel Mandia said nga the rising theft cases in the city because for failure of our city, the city to give ayuda, munang mutaw mo gawas na lang para mangawat. Is that simple nga yang theory? Remember nga poverty is not a reason for us to steal. Nagkab na pamagi. Umaw ka na. Mo man sinutyan ako pa yang kanon nga kanang style bitaw para padani sa tao. Ngayon din nimo daghang kawatan, daghang mangungot kay tungod sa kalisod sa panahon. Natungod kay ang gobyerno di mayo. Inana man na. Mo nung sinutyan sa bukid. Basta na member ni sa bukid noon. Now, ito, wala na bito siya kanang mintiga ba? That people to go against the government because of the poverty that people are suffering, and the reason for this poverty is the government. Tungkol pasabot, ipakontra niya ang gobyerno sa tao, ang tao against the government. He's not a policeman. Ha? Oo. He's not a policeman. Ningon sa OSM, the mayor rejected the recommendation of local COVID-19 emergency operation cluster. Human naman to stop kining focus containment. The government has not ordered border patrols nor implement measures to properly screen those coming from airport. Kani, Mr. Chairman, kung tanaw ni mo ko mga pila na bagod takatuig siging buhat o mga kanang mga tawagan na checkpoint, luya na kayo mga polis. Luya na kayo tanaw. Gani, di na kayo sila stricto. Siya, palabayin na lang. Correct siya. Nang ano kita may basol. Nga sila may nagluya-luya. Tungod ka na. That is why si Mayor, ang yung style is, kung inistriktuhan na to, we lack the manpower to do that. So therefore, dinita sa niyang gingon nga, kining gitawag na isolation. Isolation. Unya, katong mga pamilya sa na-isolate, i-isolate na sa. Unya, identify. Buhat sa mga bagong hospital, mga facilities, palit sa mga, unsa nagpamalit na to, mga health nga mga related nga mga purchases para makatabang sa atong gobyerno. Pero kay kanimo ko para sa kang mayor, nganong dili kay sa stricto kay kapoy na tao. We're just human. Magbantay daw. Nagpaggabi kadlawon, bantayan mo. I mean, nobody can do that. Sure ka na. So kinahanglan nga, magunuhon na kita sa alternatibo nga pamaagi. Ang taon to, pagpagga ang sakit nga lesser ang atong use sa manpower tungod kay ang atong manpower. Di kapoy na. Di kapoy na. Nga pangayuan niya ang RT-PCR test ang tanan masulod. Kabalo sa pili RT-PCR. Bayad. Ha? 3-5. So tanan masulod yung patistingan ng ilong niya. Pahulat niya pilak adlaw, tulog adlaw. Nga pa niya pasuot, inanabalugan ng style.
RT-PCR, 3-5.
3-5.
Each.
Nya kung palanita na ka nagpuyo sa guluhan, musulod ka ni musulod kada adlaw ka musulod din si kada adlaw ko sa mag-RT-PCR. So, okay lang, pasiluan na to si Colonel Gunda. Ako lang, I hope Colonel Gunda and also the members of the ang ako man itong planong i-declare ko ni President ng grata niya. So, ano lang. We, the city government, is paying him 2,000 pesos a month allowance. Ba't na magpaluyuluyas mga polis na ito din eh? Aside from all the assistance that we are giving to them. Wala na magpaluyuluya. Asa siya, ato siyang gipalangga. Na kung naganina na unta sunod, kung kabatik siya karon, yagi sa True Channel. Okay. Sabi ninyo, Mr. at Colonel Gonda, kung ang mayor masayo, sigurado ko nga ikaw ang dili makauna sa pagbadlong sa mayor. Ang presidente sa Pilipinas, kaya nasayod na. Ang ATF sa Manila, sayod na. Pero dili na sila mingon nga. Mga sa radyo, mingon nga. Oy, mayor, dili matsakto na iyong gibuhat. Manawag man sila sa telepono. Para dili makagubot. Do not add confusion to the confused community now. Kung di ka makasabot, yan na, balik pag-eskwela. Balik pag-eskwela. Mura gina. Review. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Mr.
thank you,
Chair.
Councilor Edgar Cabanlas.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair,
Okay, Councilor Enrico Salcedo.
Daghang salamat, Mr. Chairman. Mayong hapon sa tanan. Alam ko i-querying, Mr. Chairman, kung I don't know kung kitsa maka-answer ni. Kung unsa bay composition sa local IETF? Ha? Lagi kitsa man.
Well, the composition of the
Oo.
local IETF.
Oo.
Okay. Well, maybe our health committee, maybe we can shed light about the query
Okay.
from one of our members.
Siguro siguro
Well, I'm sure the PNP is included in the
wala ako.
composition of the IETF.
Ako lang si Chairman kung nabay ka represent gikan sa City Council. I don't know kung kasi maka-answer po ani Mr. Chairman. Ha?
Well, there is no member from the council, but as representation of the Cagayan de Oro in general, I think the mayor is in.
Sa kuha ni Colonel Gondam si Chairman, nag-represent mo muna siya sa PNP. Di ba? Especially sa Pokpo. Kung utana sa kung sa kasi na-isa representative kan sa City Council. At least may bawa na to kung unsay real score gyud dito sa ilang meeting. Kay para nako dipod kung pananditan ko dipod maayo tong gimo pod ni Colonel Gunda nga pataka siya dito sa iyang statement nga lugar bigit sakto tong giingon ni Councilor Ed Cabanlas, pero I hope siguro Mr. Chairman nga ma-invite na to si Colonel Gunda to shed light nanong sa inungdan. Nanong through the committee sa atong committee sa health or sa committee on public safety. Kay para masuta gid nato Mr. Chairman nganong ingana ang iyang sinultian dito during sa iyang interview sa at least matugkad na to kung sa hinungdan Mr. Chairman in fairness po sa iya. Thank you.
Okay. Well, it's up to the committee chairman itself in order. So, but as long as, well, as a man in uniform, they have also the chain of command. So the higher ranking officer must be first. Well, you have the director. We do have a director. So as the second next in rank. So as well, but one thing for sure that he breaks the chain of command of the as the man in uniform as the PNP. Well, that could be the scenario. That could be one that we have a precedence also. What do you call this one? Way back in the chief of police, sige, si Juan, na controversial kayo sa chief of police sa Osamis. Espinido. That is the one. Is also that one that he breaks the chain of command. That part. Anyway, so
Mr. Chair.
okay, Councilor Jocelyn Rodriguez. Okay, Councilor Jocelyn Rodriguez.
Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, fellow councilors. We do not know really what's happening inside the office of the mayor and councilor and Colonel Gonda. This is my point, Mr. Chair. Even the highest person in Supreme Court is saying that any public official should not be onion skin. We'd rather that we listen what is their point of view ni Colonel Gonda. And perhaps kaysa walay musturya unsay kahitabo. I don't think that Colonel Gonda is that stupid. I don't think nga musulti lang siya without any basis at all. We could have asked him. We could have invited him than attacking him. Sometimes, ako dako ko respeto ni Councilor Cabanlas, yet we could have called why it's happening that way. Para lang ako, Mr. Chair, nagkomentaryo ang usa ka tao, perhaps something is wrong along the way sa ilang pagistorya sa atong mayor. Let us not condemn Colonel Gonda. They are our partners ever since nagsugod ang pandemya. And this is one thing also. Ang ako lang dili ganahan sa mayor, nga musulti pod siya, nga namulitiko na sad si Colonel Gonda, which I think is not, because I know him ever since kaila ko ni Colonel Gonda. He is a very decent man. And then another, that the mayor was saying that he is probably having a mental condition. I am an author of this mental ordinance nga wala pa gali di aprubahan. BI mangguna sa pagkatao ni Colonel Gonda. Dili maayo paminahon so those who are professional in the mental health nga gamiton kani nga word nga mental condition kay ngano this is an attack of a person sa person ni Colonel Gonda na dili maayo paminawon. They can debate on anything. We can listen to them, both of them, but then attacking him as using politics as being into mental condition is another story. Makauulaw. When we are talking about granular isolation, probably there must be an IATF directive from Manila. Precisely why? Napuno na siguro PNP kay dili maminaw atong mayor sa granular isolation. And if you notice, that was before na granular isolation and it was working. I myself knows that. Kay kapitan man ko sa barangay. And if the mayor is saying, kapoy na ang tanaw, how could that be kapoy? We will never be kapoy for our people. We have the tanods, we have the PNP, we have the staff sa barangay. Ang dapat mo reklamo ang atong mga kapitanes o ang atong mga frontliners. Let us be decent in our choice of words nga unta. Dili mahimo siyang personalan, dili maayo paminawon, especially that you are accusing of somebody of mental condition. Dili ko ganahan, Mr. Chair. I'm just being in the middle. But then, with the using the word mental condition and pamulitiko, where is democracy here? Where is the freedom of expression? PNP has been our partner ever since, even when I was still a barangay chair. Let us give them the chance also to speak up, not attack them, to speak up. If Colonel Gonda said something that hurt the council or the mayor, let us invite him. Let him give him the benefit of the doubt. Why? Unsay rason. We cannot be attacking the PNP. They are our partners. And this is the pandemic now that we have to cooperate. Tagsa-tagsa na to mo cooperate. PNP, the LGU, the barangays, or whatever panahon na mag-cooperate. Then, let's stop condemning the PNP ever since they are our partners. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay,
Mr.
thank
Chair.
you, Councilor Jocelyn Rodriguez. Okay, Councilor Lordan Swan,
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
you have the floor.
Personally, I don't think that we were dragged into this. It was only the mayor that Colonel Gonda mentioned. And although I only listened to the clip and not the entire interview, there was actually no consultation or caucus between the mayor and the city council regarding granular lockdowns, which means there was no consensus. So we were not dragged into this. Regarding what he said, that was his assessment as a professional, as a police official. I am inclined to believe him because that is his job, that is his profession. And I don't think that it was his intention to have the people go against the government. He was only saying what was his observations regarding the situation that we are in now. I honestly also don't think that he went to that interview to specifically say that the mayor was uncooperative. He was just asked a certain question and he answered it. I didn't hear any malice in the way that he said it. And regarding katong mental issues, dili na unta, personalan issues lang unta. And I don't think it was necessary and relevant, and there was actually no basis for it. So, kana lang, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Lordan Swan. Well, about the special report is, in response, the special report is all about the whole local government unit is dragged about this. That is why our fellow Councilor Edgar Cabanlas, is reacting or in response to him. Well, actually, it's very unfair for it when it comes to all the local government as if walay gibuhan. Well, think it twice what they are doing, especially our frontliners, that they are working hard and risking their lives 24/7 from day one. So magduha na ta katuig, so as if wala tayo gibuhat. So ingana. So that is why the thought or the substance about the special report of Councilor Edgar Cabanlas. Well, okay, Councilor Roger Abaday, and
Thank you very much, presiding officers, my colleagues in the City Council, and to all people who are listening to us today, especially this issue, no, regarding the clash between the PNP and the Chief Executive. Dili unta ko mo tamponin ng issue kay between the mayor and Colonel Gonda. Pareha sila member sa IETF. Para sila member, di ba? Pero kay gidrag man lagi ta, giapil man tanin nga issue, kadawa na gingnan nga di kuno ta pagka tambag sa mayor, di kuno ta wala ta gihimo. It's very unfair. No? Kay as I've said, the mayor has his own prerogative and discretion. Gani, even though the national government sa IETF mo impose sila og kining policy, napay caption, napay proviso nga the local government unit has the option or discretion to impose the policy na diya sa ibutang. So, in between dito, the attached ang PNP and ang city mayor, they are under one law, Republic Act 7160. But the PNP has its own specific law, is the Republic Act 6975, which is they have their own mandate. The PNP is only an attached agency to the city. Attached agency naman sila, kay national man sila. So, in between the two, who has the hierarchy of mandate? Kinsa may dunay kagahom sa jurisdiction? I think it is the mayor. It is the mayor kay iyan ang teritoryo. Although, pareha ilang intention. The mayor has to protect under Section 16, the General Welfare Clause, but broad kayong trabaho sa mayor. Ang sa PNP is just law enforcement, crime detection, and of course, sa disaster, utilize sila, terrorism, but purely security. But the mayor, halos tanang concern sa iyang katawan sa ganun. Iyan na. So who was the better person to decide? I think the chief executive. So bisag Colonel Gundag, I know him because in fact he was one of my faculties sa department. No? Parehami profession as a criminologist. Pero siguro excited lang kay siya siguro to follow the order of his higher hierarchy nga to follow to enforce the law. But the mayor has also its concern. Labi na ning his experience. He is surrounded with expert also. Colonel Gunda is also an expert in his field, but manang dili mayo nga madako ni nga issue, Mr. Chairman and my colleagues. I think kulang lang ang dialogue siguro. They have to talk. And what's the better reason for in decision making? So, muna nga, dili sa mayo nga appeal sa dainta, drag sa dainta City Council kay gay mo. That's unfair. Okay, we did not intervene in the work, the responsibility of the mayor and the PNP. Although they have good intention, Colonel Gunda is to follow the order of the higher hierarchy, his boss. The mayor also has to perform his duty to protect also, not only security, but economy. Ang kauna-una ni mayor is the economy. Ang tangsab sa ekonomiya sa siyudad sa Cagayan de Oro, di sa mapurisyo ang tao. So that's the one here. I think they will come into one point nga we have to talk. Eh di sa mayo nga mag-unay ang PNP nga karon panahon na. That's my Mr. Chairman. There is a place or time for the PNP, kung dili may music, I think may intervene ang highest sa IATF in order to resolve the issue. Kaya di mayo nga nata sa pandemya, gaaway ang tanang ng membro sa IATF. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor Roger
Mr.
Abate.
Chair,
That's why we have to reconcile about this one
Mr. Chair,
since we are facing this pandemic. So,
Mr. Chair.
well, as the government, even whether it is local or the national, but we are facing this entirely as one. So, with one government about this one in response to this pandemic. So, the whole government approach, that is why, that is the theory of this facing this pandemic. So, from national down to local. So, in this moment, the ayuda is response by the national government. There is a relief, and so as there is an additional monetary, and so as the local, in response to the facilities, the isolations, the health facilities, we are responding. So about this one, so we have to unite and we have to reconcile about the differences about this one that we are facing right now. To our level, from the highly urbanized city, well, dili na sa tingali ang Cagayan de Oro i-compare po sa mga hingoog, kay that is component cities, and so as we are in a highly urbanized city, that is our leveling. So it must be leveled in our level or different cities, so as in Cebu, Davao, Manila, that is why. So from different cities, the cases of COVID-19 is increasing. We have nothing to do with it, but at least we are trying to defeat this COVID-19. So in response to that, we have to unite in fairness to our frontliners, from different barangays. Luoy na gid taon kayo. 24 oras. Luoy na kinahanglan na gina magtinabangay na kita ni nga kwan. Sa una gaman ga tinabangay ta. So the facilities, well, the facilities in San Simon, as far as I concerned, Sirit is already in full capacity. So pila ba ka bulan, puno na, napuslan na. So in fairness to that. So okay,
Mr. Chair,
Councilor
Okay.
J. Pascual is
Councilor
raising
J.
his
Pascual
hand.
and so as
I am yielding to Councilor J, the chief.
okay, Councilor
I would like to think that we have the same discussion, Mr. Chairman.
okay, Councilor J. Pascual. Councilor J. Pascual, you have the floor.
Maayong hapon, Mr. Chair. Maayong hapon to my fellow councilors. Actually, naapoy isa ka buok, I think na limtan ni Councilor Ed Cabanlas na pag-ingon na when Colonel Gonda was asked na ka-support ba ang city sa PNP. Actually, he was talking about the gasoline. Ang gasoline man good, Mr. Chair, ingon niya is atong obligation. Actually, it is not the obligation of the city. Ang PNP na sila MOOE nga para sa ilang gasoline expense, but ato nang gitabangan ng ilahang gasolina. And naapagyud na sila city allowance. So if they want nga kanadeng ang Miss Orman daw ang ilang giingon nga gahatod og pagkaon sa ila, basi gusto na lang nila ang ilahang city allowance i-convert na lang into food. Ihatod na lang nato sa mga checkpoint kung gusto nila. 'Di ba? Iyon man sila nga wala gid daw tabang ang atuang city government. So unsa man din ang city allowance atong gasoline nga ginahatag, dili din natabang sa city. So kana lang, Mr. Chair. Maraming salamat.
Okay, thank you, Councilor J. Roa Pascual. Okay, Majority Floor Leader, Ayan Mark Kiblat Nakaya.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I thought that we have the same source, Mr. Chairman. Anyway, I have received a text message from the legal office, and the city mayor has written a letter addressed to the chief PNP as regards the behavior of Colonel Gonda. If I may read so that the side of the city mayor will also be heard by the city council. May I proceed, Mr. Chairman?
Okay, you may now proceed, Majority Floor.
Thank you. Republic of the Philippines, City of Cagayan de Oro, July 31, 2021. Police General Guillermo Lorenzo T. Eleazar, Chief PNP, National Headquarters, National Capital Region. Dear General Eleazar, or the subject matter, Police Lieutenant Colonel Limuel Gonda of Cagayan de Oro City Police Office. Greetings. I am constrained to write this letter in order to inform you of the very recent events in Cagayan de Oro City involving a member of Cagayan de Oro City Police Office, Police Lieutenant Colonel Limuel Gonda, Deputy City Director for Administration. Without any provocation and for reasons known only to him, he openly and directly criticized me over both regular and social media here in Cagayan de Oro, lambasting me and accusing me of being uncooperative. I was absolutely stunned by Mr. Gonda's behavior, especially since he regularly attends on behalf of CUCPO the Emergency Operations Center that I established as mayor of the city last year. This EOC serves as my coordinating group on COVID operations, and in all deliberations therein, Mr. Gonda has never raised any issue to me directly or indirectly. Mr. Gonda has last week guested in a series of media appearances, attacking my policies and actions, as well as those of the Emergency Operations Center. To wit, he has expressed these at interviews with Mr. Alwin Sarliring of the Daily Source, and 2 of 93.5 home radio available at this FB post with links, Mr. Chairman, for the 2 sources. In a nutshell, Mr. Gonda accused me of being uncooperative for not imposing the so-called granular lockdown or focused containment here in the city. As a response to the recent surge in COVID-19 cases, he further continued with other gutter-level partisan criticisms that are not even worth the dignity of being mentioned in this letter. Even before he started criticizing me, I have already explained in our daily press briefing, which I began way back in March 13 of last year, that the granular lockdown or focused containment is no longer necessary since the entire city has already been placed under enhanced community quarantine or ECQ effective July 16, 2021. Besides, and more importantly, I have learned from our past experiences, being one of the cities, if not the first, to impose the granular lockdown or focus containment last year, that it's hardly resorted to this strategy more than 40 times in many parts of the city. And I personally saw it's severely debilitating and limiting conditions, particularly on the manpower issue, as this strategy needs 24/7 close monitoring to be effective. Finally, I am concerned that this strategy is merely an excuse to allow COVID individuals to go through home quarantine, which is prohibited in the IATF guidelines. So I concluded the best strategy is to ensure the COVID individuals are immediately brought to the temporary treatment and monitoring facility. And the high-risk close contacts are also immediately brought to the city isolation unit. With these twin moves, there would be no cogent need for a granular lockdown or focus containment. In any event, this is not for Mr. Gonda to decide, and more so to insist on. By doing so, and without giving me the required courtesy, Mr. Gonda not only acted unprofessionally, he grossly violated his duties as a police officer and in open and wanton disregard of the express provisions of RA number 6975 and RA number 8551, more particularly the provisions defining the relationship between the local government units and the Philippine National Police. I seriously tried to discern what could have been Mr. Gonda's motive for doing that. After all, we have not been involved in any direct or indirect altercation or conflict of any form in the past. In fact, we were in talking terms. I could not understand the sudden turnaround. Either he has political plans, which I welcome, although he should precede his overt actions with the honorable move of resigning from the Philippine National Police, or he is being used as a dog of war by someone hiding under the cloak of anonymity. It is unfortunate and untimely that things like this happen, especially when we face the threat of the Delta COVID-19 variant. We need unity and cooperation as we strengthen the city. For his irresponsible and professional and unlawful actions, I respectfully seek Mr. Gonda's immediate relief and removal from the Cagayan de Oro City Police Office. This is without prejudice to our seeking administrative and legal sanctions against Mr. Gonda. I would appreciate greatly your looking into the matter. Sincerely yours, Oscar S. Moreno, City Mayor, Capi Fornes, Secretary Anyo, Secretary Galvez Jr., Yusek Densing, General Anduyan. Mr. Chairman, this is the side of the City Mayor, and of course, his sentiment about the issue being raised by Colonel Gonda. So whatever the proposal of the reporter as to how we should proceed or dispose with his special report, we welcome his suggestion, Mr. Chairman.
So there could be at the proper time the proposal of Councilor Edgar Cabalas or the, what we call this one, persona non grata that you mentioned a while ago. So can you elaborate it and make it clear about the proposal of yours? So there is already an action coming from the executive. So our part as the Sangguniang,
I don't want to initiate moves that would hurt Mr. Gonda. But I would just like to pass a resolution expressing our not appreciation, of course, our frustration and dislike to what Mr. Gonda has said against us, members of the City Council, for not doing anything I heard that. Kunya kita wala kuno ta maghatag og ayuda sa city council sa police office katong sulti ni Jay. It's unfair. So just a resolution addressed to Mr. Gunda expressing our frustration and our disgust over his statement. I hope there is an atonement on his part.
Okay. Okay. Okay, thank you, Councilor Edgar Cabanlas. Well, so not for that, I think it is stated clearly by our very own secretary. But we have just a resolution, not the persona non grata thing. So at least our executive branch is responding and reacting, and so on forth. But there could be a separation of powers. So the separation of powers, we do have different functions. So I hope that we understand. But at least, I think at the proper time, there could be a resolution as expressed, as proposed by our fellow councilor, Councilor Edgar Cabanlas. Okay, our second reporter. Okay, Councilor Roger Abaday. Mayong hapon kanimo.
Ay
You have the floor.
hapon, presiding officer, Vice Mayor Renier Kikangoy, the floor, the birthday celebrant, and my colleagues in the 19th City Council, my friends were online and following us today, may hapon sa tanan. My report, special report, is based on the latest estimate of the planning agency of the NEDA Secretary, Carl Chua, stated that each week of ECQ, or Enhanced Community Quarantine, in Metro Manila lang, in Metro Manila alone, would cost the economy of 1.5 billion pesos. Is for gun output. Muna inong na. A week of ECQ would also post 444,000 Filipinos out of work and drive 177,000 more Filipinos into a poverty. So thus the first round of tight of restriction in mobility and mass closure of establishment will come a huge cost of government, private sector, and especially the population. Experts said if the preemptive lockdown has to work, however, the national government must ensure that the LGUs rigorously enforce the restriction under ECQ status, blocking super spreader events and making sure their constituent to adhere to health protocols. Recommendation of the NIDA and the expert that it must ramp up country's vaccination program during the 2-week lull economic activity. And 2 weeks man ang extension. As the government chief economist Chua stressed, the detrimental impact of the ECQ could be partly reversed if the next few weeks are used to accelerate the vaccination of everyone in the high-risk areas like Cagayan de Oro. This way, the ECQ will be an investment to pave the way for recovery once we control the Delta variant spread. Likewise, advised by the national government, needs to provide financial assistance to the poor, an urgent measure given that it is barring millions of people from going to work and earning their daily keep. If i-impose yun ang ECQ, kaning istrikton yun. So, the national government directed the Department of Budget and Management, the DBM, must quickly identify the savings that the departments and agencies can contribute to the fund, including all unobligated appropriation or those contracts for programs and projects have not yet awarded from 2020 until 2021 budget. So the private sector is once also called to pitch up by helping the government speed up the vaccination program. So the concerted efforts needed to stop the spread of the Delta variant rests much on general populace who have to hunker down and follow the basic health protocols, wear face masks and still wash hand frequently, practice physical distancing, and stay home. So everyone does his or her part so that the country can hopefully look forward to welcome the break from the summer crisis so that we have a bullish Christmas season. Muna ilang recommendation now. Mr. Chairman and my colleagues, in view of this official report or recommendations from the NIDA, allow me and solicit your help to persuade the city mayor to instruct the department heads to quickly identify the savings from 2020-21 budget and those unobligated appropriation for projects that have not yet been awarded to realign or whatever measures to fund or to augment for the vaccination program and for distribution of ayuda or cash or in kind during this ECQ, Mr. Chairman. And hopefully by 2 weeks, it will ease the condition. So taas pa na nga panahon, Mr. Chairman. So I hope masabtan sa atong I know the chief executive has also his own discretion. So this is only the recommendation, Mr. Chairman. In order for this 2 weeks or more, nga kung gusto nato ma-cease or stop kining Delta variant, these are the strategy that was recommended by experts like the NIDA or National Economic Development Authority, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Mr.
Thank you,
Chair.
Councilor Jagabaday.
Mr. Chair.
Well, that will be the proposing about the prayer about the one that you are proposing. Come again, Councilor Jagabaday.
The national government directed the DBM to quickly identify national and local LGUs, their savings of its department and agencies to contribute to the fund, including those unobligated appropriation host contracts for programs and projects have not yet awarded for to augment for the vaccinations and for ayuda, cash or in kind. Gani ang national government order naman, I heard from the pronouncement of the president that giving entitled from the Bayanihan 3, Bayanihan 2, 1,000 each Filipino. That was the pronouncement of the chief executive, the president, ordering the budget to give cash assistance to all Filipinos at the amount of 1,000 pesos. So sa city, I hope we can also extend assistance like vaccination. Naman tayo budget siguro 500 million, wala na nakapalit, pero this is the intervention during this ECQ. Paspasan ang bakuna strategy para nga to ease this variant now that is now we are facing today, and to give also assistance to our Filipino people or Cagayan de Oro, sa mga tao sa Cagayan de Oro, labi na sa kining atong kahimtang karon. Kaya dili pa ni mahuman siguro 2 weeks, so this is continuous if and when we cannot address this situation.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Jagabaday. Okay. Councilor Enrico Salcedo, want to add something? You have the floor.
Daghang salamat, Mr. Chairman. Nakatawa si Councilor Ed Cabanlas kay nasayod siya. Gagaw ra ni sa akong special report. Mr. Chairman, ang recommendation sa NEDA na kailan ta augmentation pundo nga augment na to ang kinahanglanon sa CSWD sa City Health Office, Mr. Chairman. Busa siguro mo na yung panahon karon nga muak na ang committee chairman o committee chairperson sa Committee on Finance and Appropriation para ma-identify na to o ma-recommend na to kang mayor kung sa'y buhaton siguro, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay,
Mr.
thank
Chair.
you, Councilor Enrico
Mr.
Sanchez.
Chair. Mr. Chair.
But that's a simple
Mr. Chair.
reminder also that when it comes to budget or any financial status, when this pandemic hits on, so maybe it's not just the local government hardly hit, but also the national government. So when it comes to funds that we are questioning about right now, I think tanan na igo. So that is why
Mr. Chair.
even that we have a good planning, since the budget is the heart and soul of this operation or any other government agencies concerned, so dili gid siya nga na ka-effective. But well, basin di ay, no? Basin di ay.
Mr. Chair.
Okay, our Finance Committee, Councilor Edna Dahino, our Finance Committee Chairman, about that proposal.
Thank you, Mr.
add
Chairman.
something.
Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to my fellow councilors. I think, Mr. Chairman, with the report of Councilor Roger, should be referred to my committee so that we can invite the LFC and we will discuss where we can really get this augmentation so that we can really fast track. So,
Okay.
unsa atong pwedeng mabuhat sa problema karon? Hindi na natin
Okay.
magsigiglales, Mr. Chairman. We need to find ways to solve the problem, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilor
Mr.
Edna
Chair.
Dahino. So,
Mr.
as you
Chair.
wish, Councilor Edna Dahino, so as proposed by Councilor Roger Abaday, well, the committee chairman is already welcome about that proposal of yours, Councilor Roger Abaday. So, be it
Mr. Chair.
from the national government and so as to the local. So you can discuss it further in the Committee on Finance, chaired by Councilor Edna Tahino. Any further question, you have to address it in the committee level.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you,
Mr. Chair.
Councilor. Okay, our agenda proper, Majority Floor Leader, maayong hapon kanimo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On item number 1, 2, and 3 for omnibus motion, Mr. Chairman. 1 is proposed resolution number 2021-145, returning to the Barangay Council of Barangay number 22, the city, its ordinance number 1-2021, so series of 2021. 2, proposed resolution number 2021-146, returning to the Sangguniang Kabataan of Barangay Bugu, the city, its resolution number 002, series of 2021, covering its annual. Okay. 3 is proposed resolution number 2021-147, returning to the Sangguniang Kabataan of Barangay Patag, the city, its resolution number 02, series of 2020, covering the respective annual budgets for calendar year 2021 with estimated incomes, with the information that they said the same are operative in their entirety. Move for the approval of the said items 1, 2, 3, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Properly moved by the Majority Floor Leader.
Second.
Seconded. Objection? Objection. Objection? None? None. Resolution number 2021-145. Resolution number 2021-146. Resolution number 2021-147. Since there is no objection after all, it is hereby approved.
Move to dispense second final reading.
Second.
For its finality, seconded.
Second.
For inclusion, Mr. Chairman, we have items 4, 5, 6, then the 7, 8, 9, and 10, the expression of our deepest condolences to the bereaved families. Up to 10. Okay na?
Up to 10.
What's many? Okay.
Barangay Treasurer.
Clerks? Napil? Okay.
Can
So
you
number
include
11, Councilor Roger is
I don't know if that's the right term with this resolution commending the Magnum Radio for initiating that ayuda response for ayuda for our people. It helps so much also.
interviewon ka og mana.
Oh. Apas na yun.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair.
Libre imong adyo. We have no objection, Mr.
Additional.
Chairman.
Hindi ka na. Okay, okay, Councilor Lordan Juan. Okay,
Yes,
I think you're raising your hand.
Yes,
Councilor
did
Lordan
we-
Juan.
Did we include the expression of condolences for former Councilor Leon Gan, the death of his father?
Ah, okay. Kuya Juan sa father, the father. Okay, okay. The father.
Father, Mr. Chair.
So we have up to number 12, I guess.
Number 12.
Okay.
The father, ah.
Anyway, for up to 12, Mr. Chairman, for
Okay.
inclusion.
Item for inclusion, item 6 to item number 12.
Item 4 to 12.
Item number 12. So as proposed by the majority floor leader, any second? Seconded. Okay, majority floor leader, you may now proceed.
Number 4 is proposed ordinance number 2021-130, authorizing the Honorable City Mayor Oscar S. Moreno, representing the city government of Cagayan de Oro, to enter into and sign the terms of partnership TOP with the Department of Health, Center for Health Development, DOHCHD, Northern Mindanao, represented by its Regional Director 4, Jose R. Liacona Jr., MD, MPH, CESO 3, covering the management and implementation of the approved 2021 Annual Operational Plan AOP, which shall focus on the achievement of improved local health system performance consistent with the provisions of Republic Act number 11223, otherwise known as the Universal Healthcare UHC Act of 2019, and Formula 1+ for Health under the terms and conditions stipulated in the TOP attached here to. Move for its approval, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Majority floor leader, seconded. Objection? Is there any objection? Hearing none. Hearing none. Ordinance number 2021-130 is hereby approved.
Move to dispense second final reading.
Dispense for its finality.
Second.
Seconded.
Number 5 is proposed resolution number 2021-148, commending and congratulating Filipina weightlifter Hidelin Francisco Diaz for winning the first ever Olympic gold medal for the Philippines in the 32nd World Olympics, currently being held in Tokyo, Japan, thereby giving honor and pride to the country. Move for its approval, Mr. Chairman.
Move. Any second? Any second?
Second.
Okay, Councilor Roger Gabaday, you have to second it first. Seconded. Okay. You have something to say? Okay.
Sana all.
Hmm.
We have 3 boxers waiting for gold, but they are assured for bronze, silver, and silver, like
But-
Mayor Marshall, Peticio, and Paalam.
Okay. But Councilor Roger
Next week,
Gabaday,
next week.
that you are mentioning, that person that you are mentioning is still in the competition.
But they are
I think-
assured already of the medal.
Oh,
Nana
but
ilang
later
medal?
on,
Pero di
later
pa
on,
takabalo
maybe,
sa ilang madaugan.
ah,
Hopefully gold.
okay,
Sana raman, sana lang.
okay, okay. Atay mugag kuan man mo, mugag lambayog man eh. Sana, but still in the competition. But I
Pag
think
mag-gold
this
na
should be,
siya, ay sa bawi ang bronze.
ah, okay, so that could be, so the boxer that you are mentioning, mugag lambayog na ba?
Wala na to mag-gold.
Uh, anyway, there is a motion properly moved and seconded. There are still pending for approval as proposed by majority. Objection? Objection? None. Hearing none. Resolution number 2021-148 is hereby approved.
Move to dispense second final reading.
Dispense for its finality. Seconded.
Number 6, Mr. Chairman, is proposed ordinance number 2021-131, authorizing the Honorable City Mayor Oscar S. Moreno to enter into and sign the memorandum of agreement (MOA) with the Department of Social Welfare and Development (DSWD), Regional Field Office number 10, to be represented by Regional Director Mariflor A. Duliaga Libang, covering the collaboration of the parties in the implementation in the city of the assistance to individuals in crisis situation (AICS) as part of DSWD's protective services for the poor, marginalized, vulnerable, disadvantaged individuals or families in local government units under enhanced community quarantine or ECQ. This is the 1,000 up to 4,000 per family, Mr. Chairman. Move for its approval.
Second.
Properly moved by the
Second.
Majority Floor Leader, seconded. Objection, objection. This could be the.
Yes, the ayuda.
The ayuda. Okay. So ordinance number 2021-131. Objection? Objection. None. It is hereby approved. 1,000 to 4,000?
Yes,
Okay.
maximum for a
Maximum
family
of
is
4,000.
4,000. But individual, Mr. Chairman, that's 1,000 each.
So this could be an ordinance.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, it's ordinance. And the signing of the MOA will be tomorrow, Mr. Chairman.
So this could be the local government unit of Cagayan de Oro and so as the DSWD in collaboration.
Move to dispense second final
Make it
reading.
clear.
Second.
For its finality, seconded.
Number 7 is proposed resolution number 2021-149, expressing the 19 city councils' sorrow for the untimely demise of Mr. Mar Giovanni L. Cabingas, Barangay Secretary of Barangay Punto de City, and conveying most profound sympathy and condolences to the bereaved family. Move for its approval, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Remove, seconded. Objection, objection. None? Hearing none. Resolution number 2021-149 is hereby approved.
Or move to dispense second final reading.
Second.
Finality, seconded.
Second.
For the number 8, we would like to give the privilege to the reporter, Mr. Chairman. May he elucidate and make the proper motion.
Okay. Number 8, Mr. Chairman, resolution number 2021-150, expressing the 19 city councils' dismay, disgust, and frustration to Police Colonel Lemuel Gunda for his objectionable statements aired during a radio interview, which is detrimental to the policies of city government in addressing the COVID-19 pandemic, subject to styling. Move for its approval.
Properly moved.
Second.
Seconded. Objection,
Mr. Chair.
objection.
Objection, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Councilor Lord Anzuan.
Yes, I would just like to register my objection
Okay, move to the
for the
budget.
voting.
So since there is an objection, so you have to divide the house. To those who are in favor, please do raise your right hand. To those who are not in favor, please raise your right hand. 1. Out. Okay. Abstention. Is there any abstention? None. Out of the session.
Only one
Councilor
objection.
Saldi. Councilor Saldi Ocon and Councilor Rodriguez is offline. Okay. So to those who are not, to those who are in favor, you have it. So as proposed ordinance, resolution, it is hereby approved. Proposed resolution number 2021-150 is hereby approved.
Move to dispense second final reading.
For its finality,
Second.
seconded. Okay, Councilor Calizo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Presiding Officer. Good afternoon to you and to all my colleagues. I have been in the uniformed service for almost 40 years. And I know that the PNP was once a part of the armed forces. It is then called the PCINP. And in airing what we want to be heard by the public, there are only two authorized persons, Mr. Presiding Officer. And this is either the commander or his designated spokesperson. I really am wondering why Colonel Gonda went to the radio station and have himself interviewed on air. Because I know for one that although he is the deputy director of COCPO, he is not the spokesperson of the city director. And I'm very sure as a personnel in the uniform service, he should know that. And he should also know that there is an appropriate penalty for this. In fact, violating this policy of the armed forces regulations, it sometimes cost our service. I don't know now with the police because I've not yet researched into the PNP law, and I failed to research also in the internal rules of administrative rules of Headquarters Philippine National Police. But really, Mr. Chairman, I'm now planning to have an urgent meeting on this to remind the personnel in the uniform service to follow such provisions of rules. If it's not in the PNP law, I'm sure this appears within the administrative rules of the Philippine National Police, Mr. Chairman. So, so that this will serve as a reminder of all personnel in the uniform service to be aware of this provision of policies or administrative rules. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Romeo Calizo, for that clarificatory rules in the men in uniform, as long as to the PNP and so as to the armed forces of the Philippines. You mean to say that the chain of command of the institution, the chain of command of the institution. Okay, there is a pending for its finality. Moved
Second.
and it's seconded. Objection, there is none. Okay, that could be the division of the House.
Okay.
Majority floor
Move to
leader, you
dispense
may now
second
proceed
final reading.
for its finality. Well, that could be the finality of it.
Finality na to?
Okay.
Okay. Next is number 9, proposed resolution number 2021-151, expressing the 19th City Council sorrow for the untimely demise of Mrs. Annabel Guevara Kahita, former Assistant Regional Director of NIDA. Former. Okay. Tama. Lagi.
Lago ha.
Taga Nazaret.
Lagi. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Annabel Guerra Kahita.
Okay.
Oh. Okay. Former Assistant Regional Director of NEDA, Region 10, the city, and paying most profound sympathy and condolences to the bereaved family. Move for its approval, Mr. Chairman.
Properly moved by the majority.
Second.
Seconded. Objection? None. Hearing none. Resolution number 2721. That's 151 is hereby approved.
To dispense second final reading.
Dispense with
Second.
finality. Seconded.
Number 10 is a proposed resolution number 2021-152, expressing the 19th City Council sorrow for the untimely demise of Mr. Leo Salcedo, former Barangay Kagawad, Barangay number 29, this city, and conveying most profound sympathy and condolences to the bereaved family. Move for its approval, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Properly moved, seconded, objection? Objection.
None. Resolution number
2021-152 is hereby approved.
Move to dispense second final reading.
Second.
Finality, seconded.
11 is proposed resolution number 2021-153, expressing the 19 city councils sorrow for the untimely demise of Ms. Gina, former barangay treasurer of Barangay San Simon, the city, and conveying most profound sympathy and condolences to the bereaved family. Move for its approval, Mr. Chairman.
properly moved by the majority floor leader.
Second.
Seconded. Objection? Objection. None. Resolution number 2021-153 is hereby approved.
Dispense second final reading.
Dispense for its finality,
None.
seconded.
Okay. Number 12 is proposed resolution number 2021-154, expressing the 19th City Council sorrow for the untimely demise of Ms.
Uy, din si Kwat. Uy, din
Uy, may gali. May ako'y nabasa senior. Mr. Leon Oy Gan Sr., father of former City Councilor Attorney Leon Gan Jr. Okay. And conveying most profound sympathy and condolences to the bereaved family. Move for its approval, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
By the majority floor leader, seconded. Objection? Is there any? There is none. There is none. Resolution number 2021-154 is hereby approved.
Dispense second final reading.
Dispense for its finality,
Second.
seconded.
There being no other pending, Mr. Chairman, move to adjourn.
Happy birthday, majority
Happy
floor.
birthday, majority floor.
Luto na, Jay.